Welcome to the Daily Solutions, the podcast where we answer questions you send our way. So keep on sending us those questions, and we may just answer yours someday. All right, yeah, thank you, everybody. This is Graham Talley over here on the drums, piano, and the bass. We'll be here every day for your listening pleasure. Okay, all right, welcome, everybody. This is Graham.
And that was a lie. I'm Graham.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even mean to do that.
Big flub up. Can't believe this made its way onto the recording.
He meant to say this was Graham on the bass guitar.
This is Ashkan. Yeah, I just got really lost in the intro there.
And we have a special guest with us in the studio today.
Graham.
Ashkan.
It's Derek. Derek's here with us.
I'm Derek.
For day 3 of our social media palooza.
Derek W. Wyatt, if you want to stalk him online.
Yes, that's true.
And yeah, we've had a bunch of social media questions.
2 so far.
Come in over time, and so we compiled them all into a little week run here with Derek Wyatt, who does our social media for Float On and Floating Solutions. And
Derek W. Wyatt, if you want to Google him. And
so listen to the other 2 days.
Which are the two right before this. If you're listening right now.
They're kind of building on top of each other, so we would recommend listening to them in order.
Fourth wall breakdown, we have 7 questions that we've been kind of touching on.
Yeah, that's how weeks work,
Yeah.
So I think they should know that.
Can I just post the same stuff on Twitter and Instagram that I post on Facebook to save time? Is the question for today.
So yeah, how much can people reuse content across different social media platforms?
So to answer that question, yes and no, you can do both. So, well,
Great, perfect,
natively, let's look at the platforms. Like Instagram is strictly photos and videos, so you can't post an article from Facebook. So if you're sharing the latest study, you can't easily do that over on Instagram. You can maybe
take
screen
like a picture of your Facebook post, and then
so I have done a
Instagram.
screenshot on a mobile phone and told people to go over to our Facebook page, and it's really convoluted. It's not ideal. But at the same time, if you have a photo that you're posting on Facebook, you should probably post it eventually on Instagram and post it eventually on Twitter. So I wouldn't post them all 3 at the same time. I know that's what a lot of centers end up doing, simply because think of it like browsing habits. I'm going to check my Instagram and my Facebook and my Twitter on my 15-minute break at work or whatever the case may be. If they go to each one of those platforms and they see the same thing, it's not really giving them any added value. But let's say at 10 in the morning you post on Facebook, and then at like 2 in the afternoon you make a tweet of the same thing, and then at 6 o'clock at night you take the same thing and make it an Instagram post. You're going to be able to maybe hit one person at least one of those time frames. So start with Facebook, a few hours later make that same content a tweet, a few hours later make it an Instagram post. Or you can actually pepper it and save it for the next day.
So kind of a like divide and conquer. Sort of strategy. Like, it's okay. That makes sense. Do you think that there's nothing wrong with that? Like the platforms aren't going to penalize you for having the same content come out across all of them or anything like that?
If it's a word, there's no cross penalization.
It sounds
it's
like
a word now. It's
yeah.
a word now.
Yeah, I suppose I guess they secretly could be tracking your other sites and like trying to see if you're using the same content.
Now, what you probably also don't want to do is probably take your Instagram post and just push to Facebook, even though it's as simple as hitting a little toggle and it goes straight to Facebook. Facebook wants you, and we've touched on this in the past, to be native on their platform. They don't want you to be on Instagram and also making a post. It saves you time as the Float Center owner, but it takes 2 seconds to copy and paste it later on in the day to set yourself a little phone reminder.
So you're saying don't set up any automation. What about between like Facebook and Twitter or Instagram and Twitter? Does that matter if it's automatically inserted, do you think?
I treat Twitter as like a third-class social media citizen. Right? So, I mean, I will automate to Twitter. I will push to Twitter. It's not as popular as it was in 2010. It's gotten some flack for affecting the world. So it's one of those platforms that we've built a reputation on. We still have a pretty good audience on it. And it's just another place to be seen.
And so you won't push from Instagram to Facebook. Would you push from Facebook to Instagram automatically? Like you do a Facebook post and if it's a picture?
Do that. You can do it through. You can do it maybe through Ifits, which is a whole other thing. So there's some automation that lies outside of like Hootsuite. So Hootsuite's a very popular one. You've heard of Buffer, where you can just kind of schedule your content and post it all at various times a day. Mm-hmm. You can actually make links from Facebook to Instagram or whatever through these what they call recipes. And I will actually do a recipe from Instagram to Twitter, because right now, let's say if you push from Instagram to Twitter through the Instagram app, it just makes like a little text post with a link to go view the image over back on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
Right. So what I do is a little bit of a photo post. So I take an Ifit recipe and go, if this Instagram post happens, make a actual photo post on Twitter, save some time. And again, I treat Twitter like not as sacredly as I do the other platforms.
And then assuming that you're doing this, like what should be the first level of content? Like you have a post to do. Do you do that on Facebook first and then kind of do posts on the others, or does it even matter? Like, can you just post them wherever as long as you're staggering them throughout the day?
If I know it's going to be something that needs to be heard or viewed, I'll do it on Facebook first. I kind of like the breaking news for me happens on Facebook. If it's like fringe content where I don't know if it's going to actually get any kind of engagement, I might post on Twitter and see if it gets a like or a retweet, or Instagram first and see if it gets more than an average number of likes on Instagram. And if it proves itself to be quote unquote worthy, then I'll push it to the favorite son, Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Thanks, Ashkan.
It is nice to have almost like a dry run kind of testing platform or something. You know, I feel just like Twitter because of how much things kind of seem to pop in and out of existence on Twitter. It's just like an easier place to try things out. And if they crash and burn, it's not like a Facebook post. It'll just kind of sit there and be very visibly burned on your page or something like that.
So Twitter is where a lot of people get news. It's where they discuss happening, trending, current events. And if you have the time as a Float Center owner, it's a great platform to what I'd say put out your fishing hook, where you can actually go and get into conversations and actually have conversations with people about topics. And if you want to associate your views or even your opinions with your brand, Twitter's a great place to have these conversations. You can do similar things on Instagram, where you can be an Instagram profile and go to the neighboring business and like and comment on their things to kind of cross-pollinate your presence on other people's platforms. But Twitter is the one where you can actually go into conversations and be a member of what's happening.
Okay, and then my last question for this, is there any content that totally should not be shared between things? Like, other than the fact Instagram can kind of only do images, is there certain stuff where when you're releasing it, you're like, you know what, actually this is just content for Facebook, let's say, and I'm not going to bother posting it anywhere else?
I would do Facebook first and then post it. I can't think of any content where I would just keep it on Facebook only.
Okay, nice. So things are kind of inherently reusable.
Right.
Great. Cool. I think that answered the
question. And I was going to say just one addition. When it comes to trying to think of all the content, if you're not a content-minded person, you don't have to think of all these different ways of creating content. You can just keep repurposing things and actually save yourself some time thinking of content.
Would you say it's like your default behavior to post the same thing across multiple platforms? Like that's most of the time you're using a single piece of content?
Yeah, in various ways. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Good one.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. And if you have questions of your own, go to
floattanksolutions.com/podcast.
And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I guess we should. Yeah,
Float Solutions.
That's good.
And a song. So, and while you're at it too, okay, pull out a bag of popcorn and go to iTunes and leave us a review as well. And especially if you write something out, be like, I'm only writing this because they paid me to write this. That's fine. We love those kind of reviews. But yeah, review us. It's great. It's good for the show. It's good for the world. We plant one tree for every 1,000 reviews that we get. We're still waiting for that first one.
Yeah, we have about 20 reviews, so.
Yeah, we're well on our way. You could be one more review towards that tree. All right, thanks, everyone.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.